what year did you start your business?
We started in 2017. So it really started maybe about, I think we were on March break. We were on a family trip together for March break. So we're talking, March 2017 or April, sometime there. And we were kind of heading to the end of our career. So we were able to gather a lot of experience working with our universities and helping run their basketball camps. So we both actually did coaching at McMaster. And then when Joe went to Carleton, he was running some of their camps at Carleton. And I was running mine at Windsor as well. So we had all this experience, and we knew we loved giving back to the community and giving back to the kids to help them improve. So we said, why don't we try starting something of our own back in our hometown? So, that idea turned into kind of, running a camp in that first summer. And, we had a small gym. I think we had about 14 people per session. So we had a total of 30 kids in our first year, which we were ecstatic about. Like, it was really exciting, and it was nice to see the response from our community, and the rest is history. I mean, every year we just continue to grow.
And when you say you had a small gym, was it like a high school basketball gym, or?
It was smaller than that. It was a elementary private school, so not even close to the size of a high school gym. We just kind of did with the space like what we could, and it was fine. We could split into sessions, smaller sessions.
Okay. Mike, can you give me an idea of your basketball background? And then...
Yeah, sure. Went to St. Chris High School in Sarnia. Throughout high school, there weren't many travel teams in Sarnia once you hit high school. So spent a year in London, spent a year in Windsor for junior Lancers, and then spent 2 years with Blessed Sacrament in Hamilton. And then from there, I spent 5 years in high school. And then from there, I got a scholarship to Windsor University. We were one of the top 5 teams in Canada at the time. And then I spent 5 years at the University of Windsor. And that's kind of the short story of it.
And Joe?
So same thing with Mike. Spent 5 years at St. Chris. I also had to travel for club basketball. I was in London every year, different clubs, but and then I signed to play at McMaster, committed to McMaster on a scholarship, played there for 4 years. Then I ended up transferring to Carleton for my last couple of years. Following Carleton, I signed my first pro contract with the Niagara River Lions. I eventually played 4 years. I played 2 in Niagara. I played 1 in Slovakia, and I also played my last one in Tbilisi, Georgia. So I had a 4-year pro career as well. So,
did you win any national titles with Carleton?
Yeah. I won my my redshirt year we won, and then my final year we won again. So I guess 1.5, if you want to call it 1.
Okay. What were your original goals for the business, Joe?
Honestly, it was just to give younger kids in our hometown initially the opportunity that we had as younger kids, but we wanted to kind of give that knowledge that we've got from 2 amazing coaches, Dave Smart and Chris Oliver, who Mike had at Windsor, and a number of other coaches, and just give them that opportunity and give that knowledge kind of back to the youth. And we didn't know what it was going to be. It's grown bigger than we thought, and we're excited for that. And we just look forward to kind of continuing to build it and reach as many youth as possible that we can.
And I'm curious about what challenges have you faced along the way? I mean, as I do these stories with small businesses, COVID enters the picture in basically every story. But have you faced other challenges along the way?
Well, yeah, I think obviously the first one is the fact that COVID has now, made people have to social distance. And when you talk about sports, that's obviously very hard to do when you're talking about competition and sports. So I think that was a big hurdle initially, where, we had to kind of structure our training around, being socially distant, which poses a challenge both for the coaches and for the athletes, where, the coaches, they want to be able to apply what we're teaching in more of a game setting. And the athletes want to train and play that way in competition. So I think there was a big hurdle mentally throughout the summer. And, the kids we worked with, honestly, the mental challenge they have to get past for this whole summer has just been incredible to see, and the resilience that we're seeing in them being able to like come back and work extremely hard under conditions that, you know, give a very easy out to say to pack it in and say, you know, I don't want to train anymore. I don't, you know, make excuses. Like, you know, to get through this summer of training during COVID, it's setting them up for years of so much growth moving forward, and that's exciting to see. So that was one challenge, but I think we overcame it together. You know, another challenge is that we couldn't do what we do best, and that's run basketball camps and bring a whole bunch of kids together and make it more than just basketball. Like, you know, we remember growing up and going to camps, and it wasn't just about basketball and improving at that. It was the social aspect. It was making new friends. It was, you know, learning new things, being challenged by different perspectives, and all that stuff. It shapes you as a person, and those are memories that we still hold today. So, you know, those are things that we wish that we could have done this summer, but you know, you got to get past it, and you just got to plan for the future and figure out what's next. So, you know, we pivot in the short term and we plan in the long term, and that's what we're kind of doing. And now we're shaping up for 2021.
So how have you done that? How have you run it? Like, have you had in-class training sessions, or is it been?
Well, we specifically this summer we did a lot of group stuff. So I mean, we kept it below the Ontario restrictions and made sure that everything was being safe, and we made sure that we took all the protocols and stuff like that. And then we also, when I got back from overseas, we created an online academy, which we filmed. We have over 100 online drills they can view from their desktop, their iPad, their iPhone. And it's been live, and it's been such a great resource that if we had that as a kid, it would have been such a great resource for us. So we created that in a pretty short period of time. We had thoughts of doing it in the past, and kind of we put it together when I got back from overseas, and it took a lot of time, but it's a great resource for athletes to have. That they can just go on the computer, they can see the drills that we teach, and understanding there's teachable categories where we kind of explain things more in depth, and it's just a great overall resource for them to kind of use. And if it's up to them at the end of the day. If they want to get better, they have that resource there for them, and it's just something that we've created, and we feel that there's a ton of value in it as well.
Yeah. What's the most rewarding thing about running this particular business?
Do you want to start, Joe?
You can go, and then I'll follow.
Yeah, sure. There's a number of things, but one thing that you know, excites me, both when I was a player and now as a coach, is the ability to not be able to do something, but then eventually be able to do it. So it's that growth of, you know, overcoming those challenges and overcoming those skills that through repetitions and through focus that you're able to achieve. And, you know, as a player, there was so much like that Joe and I couldn't do, that just through pure grit and determination, we found a way to achieve that skill. And that got me excited, and that kept me going. So being able to now do that with the kids we're working with, and teach them and communicate with them in ways that speed up that transition between not being able to and being able to, has been super exciting and rewarding.
Yeah, and I mean, just to follow on that, I think that whatever Mike just said is exactly correct. But and then the excitement, like following them learning a skill or being able to do something they might have not been able to do, the excitement that you see like visually is something that's pretty special. I know as a kid, like we didn't really understand it because we were kind of going through it. But when you see the excitement on athletes' faces is when they understand something or pick something up, and it like turns a light on for them. It's pretty special to see, and it gives me chills like talking about that. It's an exciting feeling, and it's something that like it's gonna, as we go forward here, it's just something that I look forward to every summer, every year to help kind of young athletes achieve those little milestones, little goals.
Yeah. Is this a part-time venture for you, or do you both have full-time jobs?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start. Yeah, I'm a real estate agent in Sarnia. So I mean that the job gives me some flexibility to kind of do both.
Yeah. And how old are you, Joe?
I'm 28. So I'm a real estate agent in Sarnia. I got my license while I was playing overseas. Just setting myself up for what was kind of next, and then Mike also, you can kind of touch on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I currently live in Hamilton, so this is something that we started kind of while we were in university, and we do it throughout the summers and kind of on a part-time basis. And I'm working up in Hamilton in the banking industry.
And how old are you, Mike?
I'm 26.
26. Eh? I was born in Hamilton, but I live in Ottawa now. And as I was preparing to do this, it struck me that there's a lot of parks in Ottawa. I mean, we're kind of because we're the capital city, we're kind of pampered. Every time I go out in my car, I see kids walking down the street dribbling basketballs. And I grew up in Burlington. We were a road hockey community, but now, and I've got a park right behind where I live. There's a basketball court there. It's always busy. And are you finding, because of the Raptors' success, that suddenly there's a growth in terms of interest in basketball in Canada?
Yeah, for me, it was huge. Like having the Raptors win an NBA championship on that level. I think there was an increase in the amount of kids playing basketball, and I think eventually it's going to be, as popular, if not more popular than hockey is. It's a very affordable sport.
Yeah.
A lot of different income families can do it. And it's a great sport. And with the Raptors' success and there's now pro leagues kind of popping up in Canada, I don't see it slowing down. It's just going to continue to grow. And yeah, the Raptors' success had a huge part of that. Everyone was watching that. Our local team or country is winning it on the highest level. That definitely sparked more interest. If there was not, like, there was already tons, right? So yeah, that was a huge deal in Canada, especially for Raptors fans.
Did you guys, when you started this business, sit down together and come up with a philosophy in terms of how you want to coach kids?
Yeah, but for sure. I think, whenever you're starting a business or whenever you're creating a team, the number one thing is, what is our culture? And I don't think when we set up this business, we said, okay, let's make this our culture. I think our culture was really rooted in us and how we grew up and how we were raised. And that was really our culture. The value of respect, the value of treating everybody equally, the value of, working really hard, earning everything that you get. Those were our values, and really those values transferred into our culture of our program. And that's what we preach all the time is, nothing's going to be handed to you. You got to go and earn it. You got to earn it, and you got to be more than just a good basketball player. You have to be a good person. And that's beyond everything.
I always say it, like when I'm talking to athletes and they're asking us, like, what do you think my kid can improve on? I think our program, if you're not going to be ready to work hard and have a good attitude and be a good person, it's going to feel extremely uncomfortable. Like we have extremely high standards for all of our athletes that come through it. We have a goal for them just like they might have for themselves, right? So we want all our athletes to have a very, very good experience, have some fun, and at the end of the day, get better at a sport that we all love. And if you don't have that mindset, it's gonna be an uncomfortable situation, and you're either gonna get through it or you're gonna quit. So it's just, we want to make sure that they're having fun and they're getting to the goal that they tell us they want to get to. And if they can stay in line with that and show us that you're doing everything you can to get to the goal you tell us, then at the end of the day, we have all the time in the world for you, and we'll do our best to get you to the spot you want to get to.
Where do you see your business growing to, ultimately? What's your ultimate goal?
I think, we always want to keep our hometown as, the major camp, the main camp. So
that's Sarnia.
Which is Sarnia, yeah. So we do run 2 camps. We usually go 2 camps a year in Sarnia, and we've dabbled with a few other cities in southwestern Ontario too, just because we have roots there. Like, I was in Windsor, so we ran a camp in Windsor in the past. Chatham is an extension of Windsor in terms of like the athletes that come out of Chatham. So we've done a camp in Chatham. We're going to be hopefully running a camp in London this summer. And possibly up in Hamilton as well, because we both, with Joe spending 4 years at McMaster, with me playing 2 years for Blessed Sacrament here, we have kind of, the basketball community is pretty close knit. So we have roots in each of these cities. So Ideally, we want to impact as many athletes as possible, and we want to continue teaching them what we know. We don't want to hold any knowledge. We want to be able to disperse that across all of Ontario, and you never know, maybe one day eventually Canada.
That's cool. Do you guys still play? Do you play in a league at all?
Well, I mean, with COVID shut down, like my season ended I got sent home because of COVID in March last year, and ever since then, I mean, there's not much going on in terms of like scrimmaging and stuff, right? Because all the restrictions. So, I mean, eventually, I think when things settle down, I'll join a league or a men's league, or I'll go and play with the college here. I know Mike plays in men's leagues. He's played in men's leagues since he stopped playing. Yeah, it's always going to be a part of us, and we're always going to want to play. I know Mike and I had a couple one-on-one games this summer, and they got chippy, and we had to tell each other to just relax. We're not high-level athletes anymore. Just calm down. It gets competitive, but yeah, we're always gonna try and play a little bit and stay in shape and stuff like that. So,
how tall are you both? Just so I can get the basketball thing going.
Well, I don't know. Every time my coach Chris Oliver, every time he talked about me in practice, he would always shrink me. So he'd always say, "What's this 5'5" kid doing getting rebounds over you?" But I'm actually 5'9", so and I haven't shrunk.
What about Joe?
I'm 6'3". I tell people I'm 6'4", just for aesthetic purposes and on my basketball card, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny. My daughter-in-law is 6 feet tall, and she doesn't like being that tall, so she tells people she's 5'12". So
there you go. That works.
Cool. Well, again, that's great, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
No problem.
And I wish you guys the very best moving forward with this.
Thanks so much.
Sounds like a great venture.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.